Testing 1, 2. Just wait a second. It's always like a long pause. All right, here I am. And we're live. It's happening. It's happening. This is happening. It's really happening. Still no notification. Still up. Am I? No, I haven't been notified yet. But I see people. Get in here. Join the show. It's a show. It's what's happening, guys. Where is it? What? Okay, here we are. Hey, get in here. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. It's Friday. We made it to Friday, guys. We made it to Friday. Can you guys hear me? How's it going? What's happening? Hey, Jane. Hey, Robert. Cecilia, what's up? Anybody else? Anybody else joining us? Man, it's crazy out there. I went to Sam's this morning, and okay, usually like when I go to Sam's, like no one's there. It's quiet, it's relaxing, it's an enjoyable experience, and chaos at Sam's this morning. And I talked to my sisters. They're like, you won't be able to get toilet paper. I was like, I'll be able to get toilet paper. So I went, and there was no toilet paper. But thank God that I bought toilet paper like a week ago, a huge bulk of it, just because we needed toilet paper, not because of the craziness that's happening right now in our country. People are buying napkins, Kleenex, every cleaning supply gone. And then someone's like, oh, if you're trying to get hand sanitizer, you won't be able to get a hold of any hand sanitizer. And I'm like, why would you need hand sanitizer? And I mean this, like, because if it comes down to everyone being quarantined in their home, you're not going to be using hand sanitizer in your home, right? I mean, that's if you're out and about and everything. But if it gets crazy, then people are going to stay in their homes. You're not going to be just like hand sanitizing your hands all day long. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm not panicking. I really am not. I feel like this is getting blown way out of proportion. I feel like the media is fueling a lot of this. But what can happen though is, let's say it's nothing to panic about, but then people now get off work. It's Friday. They get off work. They're like, I'm going to go pick up some things at Walmart or Target, and there's nothing left on the shelves. That might cause some panic. It might be a reaction to the panic. There might be panic because of panic. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's kind of what's going on right now. I heard like a quote, like 6,000 people are killed by lightning every single year in the United States, or it might be in the world. I think it's in the United States. But I mean, we're looking at 3,000 deaths right now worldwide. Okay? Worldwide. Now, the reason why I think some people are looking at this different than the flu is because it's been said that this thing is man-made. We know the flu is not man-made, right? It's not man-made. This coronavirus is said to be possibly made in a laboratory. There's rumors of that, and we're not really getting a clear presentation, I think, from a lot of these health officials. I was watching the World Health Organization this morning, and like people were like, well, does this mutate? And they like really didn't have an answer on it. And then they were like, can you get it twice? And there was kind of like, well, maybe. I'm like, there's no clear answers. So the biggest concern right now is the elderly. We do know that, I think the stats right now, someone sent it to me, I think it's like no children under the age of 9 have died from this. Thank God. Like as a mom, that's your number one concern, is kids. Are kids okay? You know, keep your kids safe. You know, they're exposed to all sorts of crap at school. And, you know, just touching everything. When I was with my daughter, she was like touching just the checkout thing. I'm like, just not right now. Okay. Let's just not. So, but that's just kids. So you don't want, you know, your concern as a mom obviously is your children And we're looking at most of the people that are kind of at risk are the elderly, over, I think, 80 years old. And some, of course, and like you hear this, Dr. Fauci, there will be rare circumstances where somebody that's young, dies from it. Like, so every once in a while you do get a fluke case, but the majority of them are the elderly. So if you have someone elderly that you care about, I would keep them like at home. I would. And I would, if you have an older parent or a grandparent, I would take them their food, take them what they need, get their supplies, and kind of keep them. I wouldn't be traveling a lot or out and about a lot right now if I was an elderly person, or if I had someone elderly that I was concerned about. I wouldn't want them out and about. Like they keep saying, wash your hands, common sense practices. And, really, this is the world we live in, though, right, guys? There's been stuff like this throughout our history of the world. I mean, we had smallpox, we have Ebola, we have, all sorts of breakouts, swine flu, just tons of stuff happens like this. And panicking doesn't help. Freaking out about it doesn't help. That's not going to solve anything. Worrying about it's not going to do anything. And I'm a person of faith. I really am. And this is when you have to really exercise your faith. You have to trust God. And I do trust God. I've been praying the 91 Psalm. And I encourage you guys to read that because it really provides a sense of peace. I shared it on Facebook about a week ago, but I feel like, it says, though 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, it will not come near you. Speak that over you. Speak that over your kids. Speak that over your family. I do believe there's power in words. I believe you have authority. The power of prayer is not to ever be underestimated. It never should be like, I guess our last resort is to pray. That should be the first thing we do. This whole, if you believe in creation, all of this came into being because of spoken word. God spoke. And so there's power in your words. So watch what you say. I feel like often people contradict themselves with their words. They'll say they are sick, and then they'll say, oh, I'm well. Like, either you're well, speak life over yourself. Really, I do believe that. And I've witnessed it myself. I've seen healing take place in people's bodies just because of them aligning with what Scripture says and aligning their words to match it. And so you can't get caught up in all of this. Fear is not from God. All right. That's not God. Okay. God comes to give peace that passes all understanding. We're to have a sound mind. We're not to be caught up in anxiety or worry or fear. That's not from God. And so don't give that a dwelling in your safe space. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should actually create a space that is, hey, we're not gonna bring fear in. We're not gonna bring in fear. We're not gonna fuel it. We're not gonna feed it, because that's not gonna do anything anyways. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say, because I feel like a lot of people, that's probably everyone's main thing right now. I mean, there's politically things happening right now, and I feel like this coronavirus has completely taken all attention away right now. So I feel like that's what everyone's talking about, everyone's thinking about, and so I wanted to address that first off. Also, hold on, getting a phone call. I also want to talk about really quick Super Tuesday, because I don't know if you guys missed it, but I did a satire on, was it Wednesday I put it out? But, okay, guys, Joe Biden was done. Like, if you were paying attention, like Joe Biden didn't even know at one point he was running for president. He said he was running for Senate. He's constantly flubbing his words. He's constantly making mistakes. He's constantly, you question his sanity altogether. And I don't say that in a mean way. I'm not trying to knock Joe Biden's, like, I completely disagree with the guy politically. I wholeheartedly oppose I think the decisions that he made when he was vice president and what happened with his son, which I hope will come into the light. A lot of the stuff that's being covered up about how his son made millions of dollars sitting on a oil and gas company board that he has no knowledge in, and made millions of dollars while his dad was vice president and the point person for Ukraine. And Hunter sat on a board in Ukraine, doesn't speak Ukrainian, and made millions of dollars doing this. The guy Hunter was like he struggled with drugs. He's gotten multiple women pregnant. He's had affairs. He's not your stand-up guy. You wouldn't want your daughter dating Hunter Biden, is what I'm trying to say. And not somebody that would be like, hey, you seem qualified to sit on this board. You seem like, let's put Hunter on this, guys. Hunter needs to take this one. No. So anyways, Hunter makes millions of dollars. His dad, the point person. They also did stuff in China and made millions of dollars. This was all kind of just swept under the rug while Obama was president, because I think Obama was looking the other way. Or maybe he was getting a cut. We don't know. But I think that they're hopefully going to further investigate this. Romney was saying that he would block an investigation, but recently he's just come out and said, okay, maybe we should investigate. Maybe we should look into it. Maybe we should subpoena Hunter. So they might subpoena Hunter and we might get some answers, which is what we want. Anyways, that's where I would attack Biden, okay? But I want to tell you guys, personally, my grandmother, I just love her so much. She passed away this last fall, and she suffered from dementia. And I'm telling you right now, they'll tell you something and then they'll forget that they told you something. Like within a very short amount of time, they'll repeat stories. They'll tell stories that might not have never happened. And you're seeing this with Joe Biden. I really am telling you honestly, there's signs of dementia, having just dealt with it this last fall. What I see right now with Joe is he's not well, and anyone watching Joe over the course of this last month it knows that. Like, you can't. The guy, and what I encourage you to do, Google old videos of Joe Biden. Sharp, intelligent, quick, knows what he's saying, on point. There's a drastic difference between him in his 50s as opposed to now him in his 70s. So it's not like, that's just how Joe is. That's just Joe. No, there's a significant change. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's saying. He's not there, really, okay? So everybody was like, oh, Joe's done. Like, it's over. Like, say goodbye to Joe. Joe's done with the race. Bye, Joe. Thanks for playing. It looks like it's going to be, Warren or Bernie or, Fluke. It could be Pete or Bloomberg. So everybody was kind of going in that direction. And then suddenly, it's like, and I did the satire in this. They had a like, hey, guys, we got to stop Bernie, because Bernie is a communist, okay? If you support Bernie, he is a communist. Let's just say it. He supports total state takeover of everything, okay? That is communism. You lose your individual liberty, you lose your freedom, you lose your choices, your rights as an American, and they're taken away and they're given to the state, and the state decides what's best for you. That's communism. That's what Bernie wants. He wants to tax the crap out of the wealthy, and destroy Wall Street, destroy capitalism, and that's what Bernie wants, because, let's stick it to the rich people. So, and the Democrats are watching this and they're like, we can't let Bernie, we can't, sorry guys, they're like, we can't let Bernie, we can't, this is crazy. Like, and now I also want to say, Democrats aren't opposed to socialism. Democrats aren't opposed to communism. But their goal was to slowly infiltrate, to slowly indoctrinate, to slowly take ground, to the point where Americans wake up and they're like, where's our freedom? Well, Bernie comes in and he just exposes everything that the Democrats have been planning. Like, he just is like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's do it now. And he's like forcing their agenda immediately. And the Democrats are like, we can't let this happen. We can't have Bernie just come in here and just, and he would lose. He would lose right now, because the majority of Americans do not support communism. So they have this meeting, is what I'm thinking took place, and they're like, we got to rally, guys. We got to rally around Joe Biden. We have to rally around Joe. So, and if you're a strategist, sorry guys, I'm like suddenly... But if you're a strategist, you're thinking, how do we rally? We're going to have to knock off Klobuchar. We're going to have to knock off, and I don't knock off, like, I mean, have them bid farewell. We're going to have to get Klobuchar, Buttigieg, Warren, but keep Warren. Obviously, they wanted to keep Warren through Super Tuesday because she's taking votes from Bernie. So they had Klobuchar step out and Buttigieg step out because they clearly their support would go towards Biden, right? I mean, that's what they did. And then they kept Warren in until after Super Tuesday to hit Bernie, right? So now Warren steps out. What was it, yesterday? And anyone like thinking is watching this happen, and you're like, oh, clearly that's what they're doing. They're rallying behind Biden. Now, they know Biden's not well. Okay, they know Biden's not well. They know he's not. Clearly, they know he's not well. He in his victory speech on Super Tuesday, he thanked his mom and sister. No, his sister and his wife, and got the two mixed up. Like he can't identify his wife or his sister, and it might have been a flub, but whatever. But like you would think, like when you're gonna, make your speech on acceptance, you kind of know my wife is right here, sister's here, and he messes it up, of course. I mean, you can't go a day now without a gaffe from Joe Biden. So what we have to do now is what they're thinking. If I'm a Democrat and I'm strategizing, they're thinking, who's our VP, right? That's the big question, because whoever's the VP is, their hope is to be, the president if they get Trump out. So that's what they're looking at. Now, I've heard rumors, all sorts of rumors flying around about who the VP is going to be for Biden. I don't think they pick another white guy because they hate white guys. Because so I think that they're going to lean towards a woman, and preferably an African-American woman, or a minority of some kind. Now, then we're looking at Kamala Harris, but I don't think she's likable. I don't think that she resonates with Flyover America. I don't think there's nothing like Kamala, okay? And so I've heard Stacey Abrams, but I don't think she has big enough name recognition. She was the governor. She ran for governor in Georgia and made a big fuss about losing. And then I'm hearing rumors of Michelle Obama. But like I mentioned in my satire, my parody, people forget, like, Michelle Obama has not been properly vetted, okay? She's never had true op research done on her at all. She relinquished her law license, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why. She, they're saying that she was going to be threatened, that she was going to be disbarred, and so she relinquished it, but nobody knows why. I believe that if it'd be interesting to go through her college papers and what she said about America and how she feels about America and how she thinks about America. It would be interesting if they have some people that really start to vet this woman, because she's never been properly vetted. Well loved by everyone, the media tells us, but never been properly vetted, and we really don't know that much about her. We don't. So I don't know. I'm watching this all closely, and of course, you hear Hillary, guys. We keep hearing Hillary might jump in there to back Joe. Now, the only reason Hillary would jump in to back Joe is because there's been discussions made that Joe would step down shortly after, claiming, I'm not well, claiming some kind of health, and then she would take over from there. That's the only way I see Hillary getting involved and taking a second seat as a VP, unless some kind of decision has been made prior. So that's kind of what I see shaping up. I still don't think they have anyone that will beat Trump. I just don't. And in order for, now they might all be backing Joe right now. That might be the establishment decision to beat out Bernie. But I don't think that Joe is still going to have to debate Trump, right? He's still going to have to go toe to toe with him. And that's got to be terrifying to them, because Joe doesn't even know where he is. Like he might not even know he's on the debate stage with Trump when it's happening. So he has to get through all of these different hoops to get there, right? Or the other scenario we're looking at is Bernie is able to take Michigan, because there's a lot of delegates there and he has to take that. And they both go in. Bernie and Joe both go in to this convention, the Democrat convention, and it's contested. If it's contested, then in the second round, anyone can step in. Okay, anybody could throw their hat in the ring, and you could have a totally new person running for president in the Democrat Party. So we're in a very interesting place right now. I'm fascinated by it. I never thought that we'd be here. And this says so much, guys. The Democrats had 3.5 years, okay? They had 3.5 years to find somebody that they think could beat Trump. To find somebody to introduce to the American people, to woo the American people, to make the American people think, maybe we should switch. Maybe we should jump over to. They had 3 years. And with those 3 years, they didn't do that. All they did was hate Trump. Hate, 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 hate. That's all they did for 3 years. They told us they had the media hating Trump. They had Hollywood hating Trump. They had every single Democrat leader, candidate hating Trump. And that's all they ran on. It's hate, hate, hate. And that doesn't win over people. Like, hate eventually burns out, right? It eventually dies out. You can't hate that long. And simultaneously, they presented no policy, no issues, no way of solving problems, no job creation or any kind of like, hey, we would create jobs this way. Or we would, this is our healthcare plan and this is how we're going to do it and this is how we're going to make this happen. And yeah, there might be some border stuff that we need to do and this is what we're going to do with the borders. They presented nothing to the American people but how much they hate Trump. And that, okay, like to me, middle class mom and flyover America, that doesn't resonate with me. Okay, you hate Trump. Well, what are you going to do with the economy? What are you going to do with the borders? Where do you stand on gun rights? Like, I hear you want to take our guns. You really want to take our guns? Like, explain that to me. Where do you stand on abortion? Some of the people in your party, Democrats, have said that abortion is okay even after birth. They're saying that if a baby survives abortion after birth, that it's okay to take that baby's life. Do you agree with that? Like, there's been no leader that's come forward within the Democrat Party to really define where they stand and what they stand for and the direction in which they want to take our country. Nothing. All they've done is tell us how much they hate this president. And that doesn't get you anywhere. And that's the mistake that they've made. So now they're looking at Joe Biden as their front runner. I mean, how sad is that? Really? But keep an eye on their VP. That's what I want to say. Lastly, I really quick want to address this because the coronavirus and Super Tuesday kind of overshadowed a lot of what's going on in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear its first abortion kind of case. So Louisiana has a law back in 2014. They put forth a law where abortion facilities have to the doctors have to have admitting privileges to these to a hospital nearby. So it means that, like, say you're an abortion clinic and you have to be so close to a hospital, or you have to have your abortions at the hospital for the safety of the woman, or in the safety of, let's say, a baby survives an abortion. So it's called admitting privileges. So that's a law that took place down in Louisiana. Well, Planned Parenthood, abortion clinics, the crazies that want to kill babies, they're outraged because this affects abortion rights. They say it affects the ability for abortion clinics to just have an abortion. Have an abortion anywhere. You have to be close to a hospital or have it in the hospital for safety concerns. And so they think that limits a woman's right to reproductive services or whatever. And so they had this big, huge, thing outside the Supreme Court. I think it was 2 days ago, and Schumer standing out there, and he's like, and they're freaking out because now the Supreme Court has appointed 2 new Supreme Court justices underneath President Trump that are pro-life, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. Thank God for that. I mean, that alone, guys, if you're a conservative, that alone, if you're pro-life, you should be supporting Trump. Because, and I have people that I know that are like, Trump's not really pro-life. Well, he appointed 2 Supreme Court justices that are pro-life, and we might actually have a chance at having an impact on this abortion industry and a limit and just get rid of killing babies altogether that are living inside of a womb. So if you're, he's not really pro-life, that's just a bunch of bull, okay? That you just say that because you don't like Trump. But look at the policies. Okay, we vote on policy. That's the people. They think that like you vote on personality. You don't vote on personality. I don't care if you like this president or you don't like this president. You vote on policy. And if you are pro-life, then you support this president, period. End of story. There's no negotiating. He's the most pro-life president we've ever had in the history of our country. Okay. He's appointed more and pro-life judges throughout the Ninth Circuit. Every judge he's appointed is pro-life. So, okay. So anyways, they're having this huge thing. Senator Schumer's out there, and he like says, and I'm going to read it to you. He goes, I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released a whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you. Okay, that's threatening and that's scary. And for the first time ever, Justice Roberts, who also sits on the Supreme Court, was like, "What are you, crazy? Like, that is dangerous to say rhetoric. Like that is extremely dangerous, extremely threatening." And basically calls him out. And now they're trying to possibly censure Schumer. I don't know if that's happened, but he's getting a lot of flack for that because he personally, he didn't hit the policy. He didn't say I stand with abortion or whatever, women's rights. He went after the justices. He personally threatened them. A whirlwind. You've unleashed a whirlwind and you won't know what hit you. I mean, what? And so some crazy nut job abortion fanatic could hear that and they could just be like, I mean, you got to be careful what you say, right? And especially somebody in high up leadership like the minority leader of the Senate, okay? And this is what Schumer said. It's absurd. It's insane. So he said that. And then I also was watching a lot of these women at this rally. I don't know if you guys saw it. The abortion people, crazy. They want to have rights to an abortion, and this has nothing to do with reproductive rights. I really am amazed when women talk about reproductive rights. And that abortion is health care. Abortion is not health care. Abortion stops a beating heart. Abortion ends a life that is not yours. If you're a woman and you are pregnant with a baby inside of you, that baby is a separate being. Just because it's inside of you doesn't make it, you don't have the right to a separate life. Okay, that is a life. And the reason why Democrats don't want to call this life, even though science says it's life, science says a baby inside the womb is life. They don't want to say it's life because then, according to our Constitution, that life would be protected. Okay, according to our 14th Amendment. So that's the argument there. They won't call it life. So you see these crazy fanatical women and you know what I want to point out? They're angry. They're all mad. All of these women. And I specifically saw this one. I think her name is an actress. You guys might have seen it. It's a viral video at this point. Bussy Phillips, I think her name is. And she's screaming. She's screaming at the top of her lungs, it's my right to have an abortion. You're not going to take it from me. It's my right to, what did she say here? She goes, I will never stop talking about my abortion or my periods or my experience of childbirth or my episiotomies or my yeast infections or my ovulation cycles that line up with the moon. And she's screaming this, and she says, she says, I had an abortion at 15, and it's because I had an abortion at 15 that I now have the career I was able to have. And if I never would have had that abortion, I wouldn't have the car I drive. I wouldn't have the beautiful home I have. I wouldn't have the husband I have. It's all because I was able to abort this baby when I was 15. And she's screaming this. And somebody alerted it to me and said, hey, conservative mama, you need to do a satire. You need to parody this. And I saw it, and my heart broke for this woman. Like, she's screaming all this, but you can hear it in her voice. You can hear the pain. You can hear the trauma. And I don't know Bussy's story. I don't know if she grew up in a broken home. I don't know if, somebody told her that a baby in the womb wasn't a life. I don't know her story. And that's the thing we need to remember. We don't know these people's story, but somebody lied to her. Somebody lied to her. Somebody told her that a baby inside of a womb is nothing more than just a clump of cells. And that's a lie. A baby inside of a womb is a life with a beating heart that has feelings. And I felt like my heart hurt for her. Even though she's angry and she's yelling and she's mad and she's just like, but there was a moment I'm watching this and I'm like, this woman is hurting. And I think a lot of these women that are angry, they had an abortion and it hurt them. It broke them. And instead of acknowledging, hey, I made a mistake, or I shouldn't have done that, or gosh, what was I thinking? Or, I wish I wouldn't. Instead of doing that, they get angry. They get aggressive. And they start to feel like, oh, I have to fight for this. I have to say other people can do it too. And they stuff that pain deep down and they choose anger. And I think that that's what a lot of these feminists, these angry abortion advocates, I think that that's what they're dealing with. I think that they have chosen anger to hide their pain. I really do. And that just, it was like a moment for me where I was like, wow. Because I bet you if I was to sit down with her and talk with her, I bet you, I don't know. I think that a lot of it's pain. I think it was a lot of it's pain that's masked with anger, and they let that anger take over. And that's where you begin to see just rage and hate stir up. So, but I want to say, if you've had an abortion, or if you or if you know somebody that's had an abortion, God forgives you. You have to ask for forgiveness and he'll forgive you. Like, that's what's so amazing about God and his forgiveness is he'll forget. He'll forget and he can forgive you. And you don't have to fight for abortion if you've had one and it was a mistake and it wasn't the right call. And so that's what I want to say, because that really, it shook me. I felt bad, and a lot of people are going after her like she's crazy and she's, but I saw it differently. So, anyways, that's what I wanted to say. So stay safe, guys. I care about you guys. Don't get worried about all this other stuff going on. Take care of yourselves. Pray over your families. And just, you got to trust God. That's what we have to do. So just trust in God. Lean not onto your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge in him, and he will direct your path. And so that's just what I wanted to come on here and say. And yeah, so I've been talking for quite a while. I haven't done a live this long in a while. I just kind of started talking. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing awesome. I appreciate all of you. Have a very blessed weekend, and we'll talk soon. All right. Bye, guys.